1 year ago today was the release date of Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the movie, which was released on 20th of December of 2024, which blew the entire world, not only the audience, but also even the critics. I mean, just look at the score. Becoming the highest rated video game film of all time, and receiving nearly $500 million in the box office worldwide. I mean, just like success and then it being the best out of the three first Sonic movies is just something that honestly flabbergasted me when it first came out. Yeah, it's a good movie, but I didn't expect it to do this good, if you ask me. It's crazy that it was also loved by critics and not only the audience. So far, and probably the only one that will be certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. But I will not be surprised if somehow the future Sonic movie has been proved, but we'll have to see what happens as the years go on and as we get more future Sonic movies, or maybe even the spin-off like it was announced before. Now, I saw this last year in theaters, actually on Christmas Day. I'm just wanted to comment that. And I'm someone who, for the most part, enjoyed the movie, like its entire thing. And one of the biggest complaints I ever had with this movie was the pacing of the movie. I did say that on my original Sonic Movie 3 review. If you guys want to watch that video just for effort, just don't watch it. But if you guys just want to hear me commentate about what I think about the movie, then go ahead and watch it. So some time has passed, and I've seen the third movie a few times. And as of now, 1 year has passed since the third Sonic movie. What I think about it now, do I think it's better? Do I still think it is the best of the first three Sonic movies? Well, I am still on that debate. However, I do not think it is best, better, or worse than the second Sonic movie. I think last year I did say, I don't know if I like it better than Sonic 2, but as of right now, what I think about it right now is I put it, the second and the third movie, a tie. I'll explain more in this video. Now, the entire movie obviously focuses on the main antagonist, Shadow, and of course Sonic himself, because that's what the title of the movie is called. It's also pretty interesting that in Japan it is called Sonic X Shadow Tokyo Mission. Which, keep in mind, they did have a mission in Tokyo during the beginning of this movie. Not that it's a spoiler now that I think about it. So the story was good. Everything in the entire movie was necessary. Like, it was enjoyable, like, almost all of it. Like, I'll talk about the pacing in a bit, but if you exclude the pacing, the movie was just perfect. Shadow was a great villain, same with Gerald Robotnik, Eggman Robotnik. Agent Stone, not the best character, but a pretty decent character in this movie. So it first focuses on Shadow waking up after 50 years, which was crazy, because that means he was locked up since 1974, if you're in the movie universe. Correct me if I'm wrong. So for 50 years, he's been living this pain with what they did to Maria, you know, an accident. She died to an accident while they were chasing Shadow, Maria, and Gerald down, and then they accidentally ended up shooting one of the containers that has Shadow's energy power in it, and it caused an explosion that kills Maria. I mean, yeah, it is dark. Like, I get that this is by far the darkest of the Sonic franchise, of the movie franchise. If you want my take on this, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this story got darker the more Sonic movies are made. I imagine this movie franchise maybe going to PG-13 territory right around the end, maybe around the last 2 or 3 movies. Imagine even going rated R. No, I'm just kidding. I know they would never do rated R. Sonic is meant for kids, right? Enjoyed by all ages. So Shadow wakes up, and then obviously it has to cut to the main character, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Don't forget Tom and Maddie. Another year has passed and Sonic has landed on Earth and has become the part of the Wachowski family. And then just only like 15 minutes later, a helicopter approaches saying they have trouble in Tokyo, which was Shadow. The introduction to Shadow and Sonic meeting is perfect. I think it's pretty good. After failing to capture Shadow, Sonic is presumably guarding one of these important car keys that is a secret to a big weapon. Later, they chase down Agent Stone, which then it turns out that Robotnik is alive. I don't know why, and I don't know how he survived in the third movie. Maybe that'll be a future theory. So they find out that Gerald Robotnik has been using Robotnik's inventions to lure him in, as well as the 3 main characters and Agent Stone. Well, not Agent Stone, because, you know, he's part of the team, so why would they do that to him? So the team but Robotnik get knocked out by Shadow, and then they go on to London to find the next key card to unlock the secret weapon and rule the world. I mean, wow. I mean, yeah, Sonic Adventure 2 style, but yo, does it have to be this dark? I mean, imagine a giant weapon actually using to destroy the whole Earth and then just threatening millions of lives, even themselves. And that's what the cannon exploded at the end, or the ship. Sonic goes super. He goes off to fight Shadow, but as he defeats Super Shadow, because he does go into super form, Sonic does talk some sense into Shadow, saying that Maria may be gone, but that doesn't mean she will no longer live in him. Shadow is redeemed, and then together they fought off Gerald's giant machine. Anyway, they defeat Gerald, the ship explodes at the end, but before they do that, they move the ship away so that it doesn't impact the Earth, and then at the same time, Super Sonic and Super Shadow are defending the Earth from getting lasered by that giant laser. Then Robotnik presumably sacrifices himself, and then the Wachowski family and the Sonic team are together again, and then the movie ends. So yeah, pretty happy story, right? But again, like, the entire plot was necessary. Like, I get that. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about the pacing, because I don't know if I enjoyed the movie so much that the movie went by so fast, or if the plot just fell so short, actually, that they just wanted to do just one big plot for the whole movie, make the 110-minute runtime very worth it. Me personally, it was worth it, but I think it could go on a little bit longer. Maybe a lot longer. What am I talking about? I mean, it's only been about 13 and a half minutes since we started the movie, and then Sonic already meets Shadow, which I'm not complaining. I mean, they're gonna have to meet eventually, but I'm gonna be honest, that went by a little too fast. And the next thing you know, they go up to a Chow Garden real quick, and then the plot continues with Sonic and Robotnik possibly teaming up each other to save the world and take down Shadow, but then very quickly, Robotnik meets his grandfather. That happens in about 39 minutes into the movie. Like, I don't know if the time goes by so fast, really, and the pacing is very well. Or, like I said, I was just enjoying so much that it went by so fast, and I just loved everything about it except for the pacing. And then the final battle, it looks short, but if you look at the runtime, it's about an hour and 20 minutes into the movie. And then the next 15 minutes or so, right, like about 5 minutes or maybe a little bit less before the credits start rolling, it's just all that. It does feel like it's perfect battle, but it honestly felt like a 5-minute final battle. Like, I think it could have lasted like 30 minutes, but then again, that would probably make the movie too dark and that'll pretty much waste a little bit more time off the pacing. I mean, yeah, the pacing, don't get me wrong, like, it's good. The timer goes so fast, but the plot, the entire movie feels a little too short. It feels like an hour 10. Like, I don't know if I'm the only one who feels that way, that when they saw this movie, that I felt like we finished the movie in the theater, and I was like, okay, that was a good movie, but why did it feel like an hour 10 minutes instead of like an hour 50? I mean, my idea of movies is that, like, taking some time to first introduce all the characters, like every single one, like maybe about an hour before we get into the actual plot. And then for whatever it depends on, maybe add a few more minutes into the plot if it's necessary. And then from then on, continue with the normal movie. Like, if you want my take on this, if you want how I wanted the pacing to play out in this movie, here's how it should have been for me, at least. Here's my take on it. I think the opening scene was perfect. Like, I think maybe go on for a little bit longer, maybe just introduce Shadow a little bit more in his backstory, like how the scientists thought of him, but then again, that will spoil like the conversation he had with Maria. Maybe a little bit more backstory of where his original home is. And then I say I've last that for about like, I say 10 minutes at most. And then we cut to the title screen, Sonic 3. And then I say give time to first settle in on the human characters, Tom and Maddie, and then the Sonic team for, I say, about 20 minutes. Maybe they would have packed up before they left to go onto that hiking forest that way they weren't during the beginning of the movie. I'm honestly flabbergasted that the only time we actually do really see them, Tom and Maddie, is in the action. I say, and then cut to the part where they're packing up to go into the forest to surprise Sonic, and then from there on out, the part where we see Sonic getting to race Tails and Knuckles could play out after that. And then I say then about after 30 minutes after the movie started, a helicopter can come down and say they need help because Shadow is in Tokyo causing trouble. And then I say play out normal, and then from there on out for about until they get to the abandoned factory where Joe Robotnik lured all members into. I say after Sonic deciding to team up with Robotnik, I think the next part that should have been happening is, why not reference to Sonic Adventure 2? We have the forest. Maybe get the entire gun team to turn on Sonic, mistaking him for the quote-unquote fake Hedgehog, Shadow himself. The only downfall I have with this idea is because that everyone obviously saw Shadow, and then so they ever know what he looks like, so they wouldn't mistaken Sonic for that fake Hedgehog. I say quote-unquote fake Hedgehog. I will also say, I'm surprised he never said, "I found you, Faker," in the movie. Like, I'm surprised he didn't call him Faker or Fake Hedgehog. He just called him Shadow, and that was it. Like, it would actually be interesting to hear him say that, just to, to make him feel like that the movie Sonic character is more connected to the actual games, even though it's not connected to the actual universe. That honestly could have been a good reference to the second adventure game. But obviously, the game is taking inspiration from Sonic Adventure 2, the plot at least. So it'd be funny to actually inference that line into the actual movie. Fans would probably go a little bit more wild for that. The next idea also has a downfall because they actually somehow capture Shadow and then they take him to a prison island just like the movie. And then he somehow finds his way to escape. And then we could get an action sequence that plays, with Sonic trying to recapture Shadow, Tails presumably fighting anything that is just against him, and then Knuckles probably doing something in case of an emergency. I'm referencing that scene. Yes, I get it. But the downfall, like I was trying to say, is that like Shadow is too powerful, so capturing will be hard. We see him take down all that army in the beginning of the third movie. If they were gonna do all that or just one of them, both of those ideas I just said, and add them into the movie, I guess they could have included this. To build up to forest scene, Shadow could have somehow knew about the Master Emerald and then find Wade with the emeralds. I think you do have to watch the Knuckles series to understand why Wade has the Master Emerald. And then I guess Shadow somehow find his way to the emeralds, and then Knuckles and Sonic and Tails somehow find him. And then they fight for the emerald, but then it gets separated into pieces, and then the 7 Chaos Emeralds go all around. Like, they get scattered everywhere in the whole Earth, basically. And then for a while, the plot could be that. But then again, that would be just battle after battle within, like, let's say about an hour. So that's one downfall I have with that. Or they could have just included one scene where the Master Emerald gets teleported to the Green Forest, like we see in the escape sequence. And instead of Robotnik setting off the traps, it could have been Gerald Robotnik trying to kill Sonic, because we do know he's also an antagonist in the third movie, trying to help Robotnik out, Shadow, and pretty much that have these three be a team. That was it. Then after the forest scene, let's say we're about an hour into the movie, maybe about an hour and a half at most. Now they decide to head on to the abandoned factory, or lab, or base facility, whatever you want to call it. We find out, you know, it used to be a home. Shadow tracks them down, and then Gerald Robotnik meets Dr. Ivo Robotnik. And then play that normal until we get to the part where Sonic goes super. As for that Master Emerald, they could have just give it back to Wade real quick, as Shadow just ran away looking for Gerald Robotnik or that secret lab. Or, you know, maybe just kept it in their house, where Tom and Maddie live. So the final act, I think could have gone a little bit longer, like an extended Super Sonic and Super Shadow boss fight. But then, yeah, again, because of how they punch each other and then just kick each other while they're fighting, could push the movie to a PG-13 territory. I mean, I think there were rumors out there that the movie could have been PG-13, or at least it was close to being PG-13. I mean, let's be honest, we don't want the first trilogy of the Sonic movies to be in and off on a much more darker, more mature take on the Sonic movies. You know, we want it also to be happy. Not every story has a happy ending either, but Sonic is family friendly. You know, he appeals to kids, adults, anyone. So ending off on a peaceful note, the third movie was just good. So the extended fight between Super Sonic and Super Shadow could have been a little bit longer, maybe 2 minutes more. And then play a little bit normal after that, but let's say Gerald does somehow does a big blast and then just takes away the super ability from Sonic and Shadow, and then they crash into the ship. Gerald doesn't get the emerald, but he just keeps it locked up. And then I guess they could have done an epic battle there. Everyone against Gerald Robotnik and his little robots that he stole from Dr. Robotnik. And then have about a 2 minute, maybe a minute and a half battle there. And then they get the emerald back, and then the laser booms out of the ship. Sonic and Shadow get in front of it. And then the rest just plays out normal. Except for one thing, I think they could have extended the ending with Tom being okay, Maddie being there, and then the entire Sonic team. Maybe they could have extended that scene just about a minute more, a little bit more. The ending was good. Maybe I just add some humor, and that's pretty much it. That's honestly my idea. If you ask me, if you want my opinion on the pacing, honestly, that could have been the perfect way for a pacing. I'm not saying the movie is terrible pace. Like, I'm just saying the movie went by so fast. Like, the 1 hour and 15-minute mark, if it was necessary for one big plot, then I say perfect. It works amazing. But yeah, if one wasn't to enjoy it so fast like I did, I think that was the problem why I felt like the pacing was off. It'll just feel like one small plot for just like a close to a 2-hour-long movie. But then again, for a PG movie, it can't be close to 3 hours, right? Well, maybe. I'm just looking at one movie right now that's close to 3 hours and it's rated PG and it's marked for kids. I'm gonna be honest, it could have been at least 10 minutes longer, and then maybe like another hour and 10 minutes at most longer. Because me personally, I wanted a 3-hour-long movie. Like, I know it's just long, and it could have made the dark theme a little bit more worse, just because how dark the story is and how sad and depressing it is. And then if it lasts that long, you know, it will easily go into a PG-13 territory. Or they could have toned the depressing part a little bit, and then still keep it PG while being about a 3-hour-long movie. Maybe about 3 hours and 7 minutes at most. Because, yeah, I think Shadow and Sonic meet a little too early, only a little under 15 minutes into the movie. The build-up when Robotnik and Sonic and the team go to the blown-up facility, it is good pacing, that part, but how is it already about 40 minutes into the movie and we already see Robotnik and Gerald Robotnik meet each other? Like, how has the time went by so fast from that? Like, that honestly only felt like 15 to 20 minutes. And then the final act with London, when they're fighting in London, like, it went on for about an hour, like, for the rest of the movie. But it felt like only about 30 minutes in total. I guess they had so many ideas for the final act that they actually didn't mean to make it 1 hour 50 minutes. Maybe, I don't know if they were planning to make it shorter or just however long it needed to be, even if it was just 90 minutes long. But yeah, like I was saying, I think adding the forest map, or maybe adding a little bit more scenes into the parts that feels like so short, and then also waiting about 30 minutes before Sonic meets Shadow instead of just about 15 minutes. Maybe adding a few more scenes and references to Sonic Adventure 2, like other lines like "I found you, Faker," or "You fake Hedgehog." I get that's copying, but yeah, like I was saying, like it's inspiring Sonic Adventure 2, so it would be funny to actually hear him say those quotes. Like, I know he says "gotta go fast." Like, I think they could have done that with "I found you, Faker," or "You fake Hedgehog," or anything that he calls a faker. Again, no disrespect to the pacing. Like, if that was the entire thing to make the movie as good as it was, then I just say that's amazing. But yeah, I feel like I say my idea for that movie could have been like about 2 hours and 50 minutes, or just maybe a little on 3 hours flat, or a little bit over, like 3 hours and 7 minutes. But yeah, it's a kids movie, so you can't make the movie too long. But look at the runtime of the second Sonic movie, 2 hours and 2 minutes, so about a 2 hour long movie. I think that's only my favorite just because based on pacing. Like, I think the build up to the Robotnik coming back and meeting Sonic once again for the second time, I think is good, you know, like he's not aware of what's gonna happen until it's too late, and then he meets Knuckles. And then again, another without warning that he meets Tails all of a sudden driving a police car. He stole Wade's car. Like, Tails, why would you? I mean, yeah, the whole entire movie is fun in that one. Like, it is. Like, if you're paying attention to the runtime, it does feel a little long. But I think it was handled perfectly. Like, I know some people don't like the wedding scene, and then they said they could have cut it out completely. And I would say maybe for an extended version they could have kept it, and then from the theatrical version cut out the wedding scene entirely, and then it only wouldn't have been like an hour 50 minutes, about the same runtime as the third movie. But you cannot end a wedding on a bad note. You know, they have an argument, and the wedding scene just over from the theatrical version, and then only on the extended version or in the deleted scene we see them happy together. Like, it has to be in the actual movie, let's be honest. I think that whole scene was a perfect way of focusing on human characters. I think Sonic 3, based on a 2 villain human characters, I think it was handled also good, but yeah, they didn't have as many screen time for that specific scenario as they were cut between the antagonist and the protagonist. And yeah, the build up to the final act for the second Sonic movie, I think it was done amazing. Yeah, it was a long journey, and it made the movie last 2 hours long, but I think it was definitely worth it. If you want my opinion, like, I have those both movies a tie, but if you want my take on this, based on pacing and just more enjoyable, and it just feels like not rushed at all, and they actually took their time with it, I think the second Sonic movie fits better for that. But obviously, based on villain backstory and efforts put into it, I think the third Sonic movie takes the cake here. So yeah, like they said, I think they're both a tie. So yeah, I know some people will say that the second Sonic movie is better, and then some will say the third Sonic movie is better. But then again, I said it before, no one has the right answer. We all have different opinions and feelings about each Sonic movie. Like, some people even have the first movie as their favorite Sonic movie. I will also talk about how the build-up for that movie is also good. Like, first you introduce Shadow, and then we get some Tom Wachowski, and then before he meets Sonic, he's a cop, and we already know, for those who has played the games before, he's a blue bird, he goes fast, and then he has the speed power, causes the power to go out, and then his big old blast sent him to his location, and slowly, the slow build-up, and then he gets to Tom's house, and they meet. That build-up, I think, even though it's not the best build-up I've ever seen, but I think the build-up is perfect. And then from there on out, I think it was done pretty well. Like, just for about a 100-minute movie, it was done well, like, well-paced. Obviously, it's the shortest, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I should say this, but I feel like the third movie just feels slightly shorter than the first movie. If I'm being honest, though, I feel like the first and the third movie do feel a little bit too short if you watch them all over and over again. But then again, like I was saying, if that's how it has to be, like the build up, the plots, and everything, all that, then okay, it has to be that way. If that makes the movie, then that makes the movie. Maybe they're just satisfied on how they introduced Shadow, and then just how Sonic and Shadow met for the first time in the movie. Honestly, the build up could have been a little bit longer. Maybe add some commentary. Maybe have the characters talk to each other during the forest scene of the beginning of the movie. Maybe extend the intro to Shadow a little bit for like 10 minutes max. And then probably have a nice conversation in the helicopter scene shortly before getting to Tokyo. Like, I know they teleported through a ring, but I think having a conversation like that could have just, you know, add some more time to the third movie. I mean, I guess, like, I probably did enjoy the movie so much that it honestly almost felt rushed. But I'm not saying the movie is rushed. You can definitely tell they put a lot of care and effort into making the third movie totally worth it. And the fact that it became the highest rated video game film of all time is something that I was totally not expecting. Like, that honestly surprised me. Like, I would be surprised if someone did say that they weren't not surprised that it became the highest rated video game film of all time. I mean, not only did the fans love it, but the critics too. Like, look at that. I'll give you guys an example that is not a Sonic movie, but something that does the build up to the plots and the final act of the entire movie do so well. I'll give you guys an example. If you exclude the Sonic movies, King Kong 2005, Peter Jackson's version of it, my favorite movie of all time, if you exclude the Sonic movies. Like, I love everything in that movie. I think the build-up is perfect. Like, you introduce all the human characters first, and then have them discuss about the Skull Island, which is where Kong lives, by the way, in case you're wondering. Now that it's a spoiler, now that I think about it. And then they arrive to the island about an hour into the movie. I mean, yeah, when I first saw this as a kid, like, I didn't like the movie's pacing. Because I guess I was just too interested in seeing Kong. We get action on the island, and then during about the final hour, we do get to the final act. Where if you've seen the movie or just know the story, King Kong is in the New York City destroying everything, and then in the end, he climbs the Empire State Building and then eventually gets taken down by helicopters. What I want to talk about more about that specific scenario is the build-up. Like, I think it's perfect. Like, they get on the boats and then they discuss a little bit more and then just have plans how they're going to shoot a movie, because they wanted to shoot a movie in the specific island. Like, you know, have the focus on the characters, like who's who or who does what. Like, which role, like, how important are they to the movie as the movie continues, like the more the movie progresses. Spoilers, even though they're not the main characters, some of them are pretty important. Some of them end up dying, sadly. Like, I think the third movie could have taken from that example and put it in that type of particular pacing, even if though it doesn't have to be an hour long, because that'll be way too long for a kid's movie. I say about 30 minutes at most. Like, at 30 minutes at most, Sonic finally meets Shadow, and then, you know, that part plays as normal. Maybe have the forest sequence where Sonic has to escape the bombs before it explodes as they recover the Master Emerald after Shadow steals it. That was just my idea, by the way. If you've forgotten, like, my idea was that Shadow somehow found the Master Emerald through Knuckles, and then he takes it, and then the Sonic team there fight Shadow, and then they all get teleported into a green forest. And then Shadow doesn't know, he just escapes there, and then somehow Jar Robotnik set those explosives up just for specifically Sonic team. I mean, I guess it would have not made sense, but that was just something I just came up with, maybe to make the movie a little bit longer. I get it's not supposed to be exactly Sonic Adventure 2 the movie, it's just taking inspiration from it, like adapting Sonic Adventure 2. Just like what Sonic X Season 2 did to Sonic Adventure 1, and then Sonic Adventure 3, and then the last few episodes was just its own story. And then in the original movie for this part I'm about to talk about 40 minutes into the movie, Gerald Robotnik meets Ivo. I'm gonna be honest, I think that could have been about an hour and 40 minutes, just because, like, the ideas I was mentioning, you know, the adding extended build up, and then that little forest scene. Maybe add some city escape into the Tokyo part. Add like 2 minutes into the Super Sonic and Super Shadow fight. Again, that would have improved the pacing for me, at least, like, from my experience. But yeah, then again, you have to remember that these movies take time, and they sometimes have a confirmed release date unless it gets delayed by a little bit. You know, they spend their time, they spend their money, their blood, sweat, and tears into making a movie that they promise to release such day. That if they rush it, before the movie gets a chance to be polished and perfectionalized. I have never used that word in my life, ever. So my overall conclusion is, do I still think that Sonic 3 is still good 1 year later? Yes, it is still good. It's still an amazing movie. The Shadow's backstory was handled really good for a PG movie. You know, you can't put it too far, otherwise it would have actually pushed into PG-13. The characters, the villains, Jar Robotnik, the plot, it was awesome. And I could definitely see why it was loved by the critics and obviously the audience, who obviously loved it as well. I mean, the fact that it did do this good in the box office, almost $500 million, and loved by the critics as well, and becoming certified fresh, and the fact that it's currently the highest rated video game film of all time, it's just something that was just like shocking. It almost like, oh my god, I can't wait to see this movie then. Okay, and then when I got to the movie, it went by too short, but I thought it was overall still amazing. Like, even in my first watch, I still feel about the same way, but do I still think the pacing could have been better? Yes, but I think now that 1 year has passed, I think it's now necessary to leave it at 1 minute 15 minute. Like, the pacing almost felt like the movie was rushed, but I know it's obviously not rushed. They took a lot of care into making the characters really come to life, and then did really well, just visually, everything. So yeah, my overall opinion, like, it's still overall a tie between the second Sonic movie and the third Sonic movie for me. Don't get me wrong, the first Sonic movie is still a good movie, but obviously it's just an introduction, so it's not canon, it doesn't adapt anything, and then it just features what Sonic does, you know, his speed, his spin dash, and then his funny jokes at times. Like, I still think the movie is perfect as it is, just the pacing. I mean, add a little bit more, and then probably could have been made the movie a little bit more better, but I think it was just perfect, like the way it was done. But yeah, like I said, the second Sonic movie has better pacing, but I think the third movie has a better plot and more action to it. And just better action to it, and just better handle character backstory. So yeah, that's overall my hot take on it, guys. So sorry this video was a little bit longer than usual, and just sorry about complaining this one thing, just the pacing about it. I don't know if I'm the only one who feels that way. I think that honestly the movie could have lasted a bit longer, but like I said, the movie is still amazing. It's still one of my favorite movies of all time. It is still one of my favorite things out of any Sonic media I've ever seen. You know, I'm talking about TV shows, movies, specials, all that. I still think it was a perfect way to end off a trilogy. Like, the first 3 Sonic movies, it was just very good. Like, epic final battle scene with Sonic and Shadow, and then eventually saving the entire world. That was just the appropriate way to end off the first Sonic movie trilogy. And then how many more movies will the Sonic franchise have? We'll have to wait and see on that one. So there you go, guys. That's my overall review on the 1 year later on Sonic 3, and do I still think it's pretty good, and I still think it's awesome. Like, I think they handle Shadow's character so well, and then the plot was obviously the best part for me, at least. But yeah, like I said, the pacing, I think it could have been a little bit longer, but do I still think it was worth it waiting all this time just for the third movie to drop? Yeah, it was definitely worth it. Like, it's honestly a really amazing way to end off 2024 like that. Even though, like I said about the pacing, like even though I did feel like it was too short, the wait was definitely totally worth it. Like it's just an amazing movie. They did so well in the character models, the villains, and the story, and then just Shadow's backstory on how to handle his story to not make it into PG-13. So yeah, let me know what you guys feel about this movie in the comments down below about 1 year later after its release. And I'm 100% looking forward to see what's next in future Sonic movies as more time goes on, and as more content for the Sonic movies drop. So that's my overall take on it. I still think it's a really good movie, just 1 year later. Like the fact that it did this good, just like I said it a million times, it just flabbergasted me. Like I didn't expect it to do this good. I mean, us Sonic fans win, right? We won. Let me know what you think about this movie just 1 year later. Is it still your favorite of the Sonic franchise, or is the second one better or the first one better? Let me know. So thank you guys for watching if you made it this far, and I'll see you guys next time.